Hi everyone, Mr. M here, and this is my PTA, parent-teacher advice channel. Today we're doing something a little bit different. I'm going to react to homeschooling videos, or specifically this particular homeschool video from Nurturing Discontent, who has a few issues with things that she's... the name of the video is Stop Normalising This About School. So she's got some gripes about school, and as a professional educator for the last 20 years, goodness, someone who has taught children who are either off-schooled or voluntarily removed from school, teaching children one-to-one in their houses. I feel like I've got a good handle on the goings-on both in and out of school. So I'm really curious to see what issues she has about school. Quick disclaimer, I am not here to judge. I'm here to offer an opinion. That is it. She has her opinions. She's entirely entitled to them. But so am I. So, let's crack on. We're going to start with her first issue.
So the first normalised school thing that I consider to be damaging to some children is something that I've only recently become aware of, but I understand they've actually been going for a lot of years, and those are walk to school schemes.
The walk to school scheme. It's a classic, and I have to say, right now, at this point, kind of agree with her. It's a complete waste of time. Children like it. This is where you get badges for walking to school. But that's all it is. I've been a walk to school ambassador at a school, so I've had to do all the paperwork for this. Literally, it's a box ticking thing. You can just make it up. Let's see why she has a problem with these colourful badges.
Give me a second on this one because I know on the first glance they seem like a great idea. The reason I became aware of them was because a close family member of mine who is in school came over to ours one day after school.
So it sounds like she's not actually in the school system, or her children aren't in the school system. So we'll come back to this. A close friend of hers has told her about it.
And had badges on her uniform that were shaped like feet with pictures in them. And she explained that you get a badge for walking to school. Get healthier, save the environment, reduce the amount of cars on the road. Yay, this is all great. But the first thing that came to my mind was a conversation that I had recently with another friend whose child has PDA, and her child in particular really struggles to walk places. And I just thought of her child in the school system, who isn't actually in the school system, but that's by the by.
Is it though? Okay, so this is the second time this has come up for me as an issue. She's first of all talked about her friend whose child goes to school and has the badges. Now she's concerned about her friend's child with autism. It's another second-hand complaint. And does the child care? Are they that bothered? We haven't actually been told if the child cares about this. At the moment, this is, I mean, fair enough, it's her opinion, but she seems very, very annoyed on other people's behalf of these silly badges, which, like I say, they're a token thing, just make it up.
There'll be a lot of children who fit that profile who will never get access to getting any of these badges that they see adorning their friends' clothes. For a lot of people with autism, from what I understand, planning and making a journey anywhere can cause overwhelming psychological distress. So while we can celebrate efforts to improve the environment and increase physical activities, which I wholeheartedly celebrate, I believe that placing this so visibly in the hands of children is completely wrong and only sets to further other children who cannot manage to do many of the daily activities that we take for granted, who are already using up their full capacity just getting mentally into school, let alone having to be reminded that there are other children who are finding.
Okay, I've paused it there because, she's campaigning for these children who are neurodiverse children who are getting to school. So tick the box that says, I walk to school and get your badge if it bothers you that much. I'm confused by this because she's saying that we have to stop normalising this at school. So far, I've had no indication that her children are at a school. Maybe they are, I don't know. But she seems very angry on other people's behalf. But there's no evidence that these people are necessarily angry themselves. This is over a badge. It's a walk to school scheme. Tick the box, get your badge. I don't understand the problem.
This a whole lot easier than them and being rewarded for it. And this is one stream of why I think walk to school schemes are damaging. And the second reason why I think these are not normal and damaging is because they are wholly based on extrinsic rather than intrinsic motivation.
Okay, so there's a problem here. What she's saying is children shouldn't be given a reward for walking to school. They should walk to school because they want to protect the environment, not because they want a badge. Okay, name one person who does something without expecting some sort of remuneration at the end of it. People don't go to work because they love going to work. People go to work because they're going to get paid. You might enjoy your job fantastic, I enjoy mine. But believe me, if I won the lottery tomorrow, I would cut my hours right down. So no, we're at odds on this one. I think you encourage children to do the right thing, so you build that dopamine hit so that later on they choose to do the right thing because of that feedback loop of dopamine. I don't think there's anything wrong with encouraging and offering praise in whatever form, be it badges or certificates. I don't understand the problem with this one, but let's see, she might explain herself.
It's the badges that I specifically have a problem with, I suppose, in that it's encouraging children to walk to school to get a badge. It is not encouraging them to be intrinsically driven to care about the environment or their own physical fitness. And you know, my boy Alfie Cohn, who I often quote on this channel, talks about this a lot, this difference between extrinsic and intrinsic motivation, and why ultimately children are punished by being rewarded for things.
My problem with this is that in the UK school system, if your child is registered to go to school, then legally they have to go to school. They are the only ones in that building that have to be there by law unless their parents decide to unroll them. So everyone else has a choice, okay? But we're going back to that intrinsic, extrinsic thing. When I was working in school, I would get there at 7 a.m. and I would leave at 7 p.m. because I was getting paid, because I loved teaching, because I enjoyed my class of children. But I had a choice. Those children, they had to be there. So why can't we offer them a reward just for getting to the building? I don't understand the problem with this, and I don't understand punishing children with rewards. That's not a thing I've encountered before. Maybe I'm wrong. If you think I'm wrong, tell me that I'm wrong, but I disagree with this.
Being rewarded extrinsically for completing tasks. And just to highlight my point, I'm going to have a quick look at the video that is on the Living Streets website where they interview children about the success of this scheme.
We're going to skip ahead because we don't need to watch her watching a... You don't watch me watching her watch a video. It's like, we don't need to do that. We're going to skip ahead because I think she said everything she needs to say about this. She doesn't like the badges because... Well, she doesn't like the badges because not all children can get them, but all children can get them. Again, I've been a Walk to School ambassador. Every single child that ticks that box. Again, here's how ridiculous the scheme is, by the way. My TA and I were also interviewed because the teachers have to prove that they're doing the right thing. And whenever we were asked, how did you get to school today? I would say chauffeur driven, wasn't. And my TA would say, absolutely straight-faced, helicopter. And the person collecting the data would say, no, come on, how did you get here? And she would say, helicopter. Tick that box that says other and write helicopter. That's how ridiculous this scheme is. A lot of reward schemes at schools are ridiculous. We won't get into them here, but again, it's not something that's outwardly seeking to exclude people because anyone can tick a box. So I don't understand the problem with this one. I think what's wrong with the Walk to School scheme? If your kids go to school and they get a badge for saying they walk to school, get them to walk to school, and then later on they'll start to enjoy. It's just, we're going to move on. We're going to move on. Actually, no, we'll stick with this because she does go somewhere. We're going to skip the bit where she's watching a video. Let's start here.
Just not even going to become players in for reasons that are no fault of their own or even of their parents.
And they really like to show that they come a healthy way.
Yeah, it's really easy to do because we have our interactive whiteboards.
You have loads of people's names and you have a little picture as well. So you click on yours and there will be options to like walk, park and stride bike.
So not only are we doing this, but the children are having to click in front of the whole class on a ginormous board how they made it into school. Like, that makes me feel like super uncomfortable just thinking about that. So if we're elevating walking to school, which don't get me wrong, like...
Yeah, we click on the whiteboard, blah, blah, blah. And her problem with that is that we're elevating walking to school and we're shaming people who don't walk to school. But I don't think that's what's going on. And from my experience in the classroom, that isn't what's going on. Because the kids don't care that much. It's just a thing. They just tick the board, done. There's a lot of being angry on other people's behalf here. And for whatever reason, I'm not judging her, but she's not provided any strong evidence that she knows, so even knows someone who is affected by this. This is her personal problem with it. So I don't see why it's a problem.
But if we're elevating that, as in that's the way you get a badge, and then you're making children go in front of the whole classroom on a massive screen and potentially click that they didn't walk to school.
It's not that big a deal, honestly. Even in that bit of video she saw, it wasn't like the end of, I don't know, insert talent show here. You just go up and you click a button. It's not a big deal. It's never made a big deal.
School, and kids are smart. They know then that means that was the lesser thing to do.
She's right, kids are smart. Which is why I don't agree with ability grouping in classrooms, and I absolutely refuse to do it. I've never done it, because kids are smart and they know, oh, you're on the circle table, that's because you can't do maths. Oh, you're on the commas table, that's because you're not good at English. And I don't like that. I think you group ability. You don't group abilities, you mix abilities in groups so that everybody helps and learns from each other. So that much, I agree with her there.
And they're having to display it in front of the whole class. It's the same as like behaviour charts in schools where you're...
Again, we're in agreement. I don't like behaviour charts because they only tend to go one way. You start the week good, like usually on green, you start the week on green and then you can go up one level maybe, or usually you can go down 3 levels. I hated that, which is why in my classroom, it went both ways. It went PRIZE for good behaviour and it went 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 for, bad choices. And kids could go either way. Whatever, so let's say they made a bad choice in maths first thing. Well, that doesn't mean that in English they couldn't make 2 good choices. And I was very keen to model to the children. It's like, you know what you do early on does not dictate who you will be later on. And also, my TA and we were on that behaviour chart. And believe me, when you've established the rules with the class, if you break those rules, they will call you up on it. And I had to miss a playtime on more than one occasion because my name went down to a number 3. So yeah, you involve people. It's about equity, not equality. It's about equity. Equality sounds wonderful because, everybody gets the same thing. But guess not everyone needs the same thing. Equity is what we want. We want to make sure that the same goal is achievable for everyone. Let's move on.
Your picture gets moved up and down, or your name gets written on the board when you don't behave in the appropriate way. Like that sort of thing just makes me deeply uncomfortable because there's the shame element to it. Like, look, everyone, I didn't walk to school, which we've all been told is the best thing to do, and we're all getting rewarded for it.
I get where she's coming from. And yes, I agree with her. She's absolutely right. Children should never be shamed for something that's beyond their control. It's like, if they misbehave, I don't think they should be publicly shamed for misbehaving. That's a private conversation that needs to happen. Maybe an apology needs to happen, I don't know. But public shaming of anybody, but especially children, that's not good. So I agree with her on that one, but I think she's taking the badge thing a bit too far.
Just something to think about. So whilst I deeply care about the environment and the amount of pollution on the road and the safety of my children, and I'm trying to walk more places, like as a mum of 3, I'm never going to be the first to criticise other parents for driving their children places because I know how hard it is to transport children even a short way. Like a 10-minute journey up the road, you're looking at half an hour minimum. And I just applaud any parents that manage to get their children into school no matter which way. And I think to be pushing the responsibility of doing better for the environment onto parents who are just trying to make it through the day, I can't get on board with that. Like, there are many other ways that we can improve the well-being of our environment. And I do try and teach that to my children.
But that's not what the walk to school scheme is saying. The walk to school scheme isn't a, come on, do your bit for the... I mean, yes, it does say do your bit for the environment, but the expectation isn't to turn children into little eco-warriors. It's walk to school, get a badge. That's all it is. It's not, you didn't walk to school, did you? Oh, well, you don't get a badge. Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah, they don't get a badge. I'm not explaining it very well. It's not as big a deal as she's making out. Personally, based on being in a classroom and having to hand out these badges, it's not that big a deal. Plus, there are always spares. Plus, a couple times the kid came up to me and said, Mr. M, I walked to school, but I didn't get a badge. I gave them a badge because it doesn't mean anything. It's a tick box. So, yeah, I completely get her frustration with the underlying kind of bureaucracy and politics of it, but I think it's an example of a parent being outraged on behalf of a child when actually the child doesn't care all that much.
So yeah, my problem with this walk to school scheme malarkey is twofold. One, that it discriminates against people with hidden disabilities.
No, it doesn't, because they can still tick the box.
And sets children in competition against...
They're not in competition with each other at all.
Each other for something that's completely out of their control. And 2, it's the problem with this extrinsic reward system. And that...
Name anybody who does something without some sort of reward. Okay, I don't get it. Everyone does things that they'd rather not do because they'll get something out of it. Like, if it's not an external reward, but it's just the warm, gooey feeling inside, that's still a reward. That's still a dopamine hit. And, these are kids. Give them a dopamine hit. So I don't understand her problem with giving kids dopamine hits for getting a badge, for ticking a box. That's all they have to do. I don't understand that one. But, you know what? She eloquently arguing her case. This has been really great. Unfortunately, I have to leave it here. I've got another 40 minutes of this. Her video was fantastic and it really made me think about things. So I'm going to go and find out what her name is because I don't want to keep referring to her as her and she and this lady. And I'm going to edit the rest of it because I like that she is passionate. I like that she has strong opinions and I like that her opinions differ from mine. I think that's really, really important. Discourse, sensible, civil discourse on the internet. That's what we need. So if you've liked this, please let me know by liking down below. Subscribe if you've really enjoyed it. Share it with other people. And yeah, I've got 2 more of these to do because I've really enjoyed it. But if you like it, I'll do more. I'll do more because I've really enjoyed it. Until then, look after yourselves and remember, you can do this. You're awesome.